Cardiff, the capital city of Wales. Home to more than 500,000 people, Cardiff is the 9th largest city in the UK. Its breathtaking scenery and rich history brings millions of tourists to the city each year. But despite its beauty, Cardiff is no exception to the UK's ongoing knife crime epidemic. In 2018, there were more than 1,300 knife crime offences recorded by police in Wales, and 130 knives confiscated. Emily Little, a 19-year-old Cardiff resident, agreed to be profiled about her involvement in this deadly trend. Emily was remanded for 7 weeks in prison for threatening to kill her ex-boyfriend with a knife.
Your course of conduct would cause fear of violence to a person on each occasion that you sent him numerous text messages saying you were watching his address and then attended his home address, banged on the door and told him you had a knife and would stab him. The female I now know to be Emily was detained by firearm officers. She was placed in handcuffs and searched and took me to the police station. Yeah, I've got lots of calls.
She had a difficult upbringing with her mum, who suffered from paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah, I was brought up in quite an abusive family. And it was very hush-hush, like no one really knew about it. It was a lot behind closed doors. And growing up, I suffered with depression, anxiety. I was always bullied in school as well. So I think that had a part to play to where I am now. Because I got a lot of anger and a lot of frustration and how a lot of unresolved childhood issues. Yeah.
With no one to turn to, Emily started seeking approval from people, which she now regrets.
17 when I met him. He was a lot older than me. He was twice my age, quite literally twice my age. And I just, fell in love with him because I thought he was brilliant. He had a car, he had a cool job. I thought, whatever, I was in love with him. But he was very abusive, and it never did start straight away. It was always little things that I let him get away with it. And it got to the point where we were both abusing each other, I think. It was never he was just abusing me and I was just abusing him. It was a very unhealthy relationship. And one day we got into an argument via text message, and I was sending him some really bad, dark text messages. I was threatening to stab him, I was threatening to kill him. I was saying I was watching him when I wasn't. I was saying I was outside his house when I wasn't, just to get a reaction out of him, I think it was. And one day he snapped and he said, "Come to my house and I'll kill you." I actually said to him that I was going to come round with a knife and I was going to stab him, even though I had no weapon on me and I had no intention to go hurt him. Yeah, I went to his house and I knocked the door and I saw him in the window, and he knew it was me straight away because he was looking at me through the window, and he wouldn't answer, so I banged some more. And again, he just didn't answer. He came to the window and he said something like 1 minute or stay there or something like that. He was mouthing it through the window. So I was like, oh great, okay, yeah, he's gonna come out and get me. So I kind of sat on his doorstep drinking for a bit, and he never came. And I looked out in his window and I saw he was on the phone, which now I know it was to the police. I didn't know he was on the phone to the police. And then I heard a policeman shouting, "Emily, armed police, stop your weapon." And I turned round and there was police with guns. Being in the UK, that's a big thing. Police don't have guns in the UK. But yeah, I think being in that area, if I had done the exact same thing a couple miles closer to the city centre, I definitely probably could have got away with it, or I would have got arrested. I definitely don't think I would have been to prison for it. Because I know a lot of people my own age who've done very similar things and they've pretty much had a slap on the wrist for it.
But despite the recent spat of knife violence and homicide in some UK cities, the number of people injured in serious violence in England and Wales has dropped by 1.7% between 2017 and 2018. Professor Jonathan Shepherd from the Crime and Security Research Institute at Cardiff University developed the Cardiff model in 1997, which has been successful in gathering information about knife crime.
What the information showed us is that we're seeing about 2 patients a week who are injured with a knife in the county of Cardiff. So that's a catchment area of about 1 million people, something like that. Weapon use, we find, is a matter of fashion very often. It's just like what clothes people wear or what music they listen to. If it's trendy and fashionable to carry a knife, then many people will. And of course these fashions spread in all kinds of ways, including with social media.
We asked a representative of South Wales Police on the record about the issues of knife crime in Cardiff, but they declined. Instead, Superintendent Wendy Gunny released a statement saying, "Knife crime remains rare for the vast majority of communities in South Wales, but this does not mean we are complacent. From April 2018 and March 2019, more than 10,500 stop searches have been carried out. Mercifully, this is not a crime at levels seen by major cities, but we need to understand why young people would make the terrible choice to carry a knife." Organisations such as Braver Choices have been gathering data from their anti-knife crime education project.
We agreed an output of delivering to 3,600 young people. But we actually exceeded that target and we delivered to 4,453 young people. And that was over 88 workshops. As we're delivering the project, our workshops, we're asking the young people to recall back information that we would deliver to them. Again, we're testing their listening and what they're learning. And at the end of the workshops then, we'd ask them to take part in a feedback process where they'd write down something that they have learned from taking part in the workshop, so something they wouldn't have known if they hadn't taken part. We want them all to have the same information around the laws, you know, the facts and actually the statistics involving knife crime.
Now this street what we're about to go into, this is a lot more dangerous. Someone got killed only a couple of weeks ago. So this one's a bit, to be filming is quite brave, to be honest. I think a lot of this street is a lot of paranoia, there's a lot of drugs that go on down here, there's a lot of crime. So like me just being here and me being filmed, I think is attracting a lot of negative energy because they're not quite sure what our goal is right now.
Despite the community and many organisations desperately trying to conserve its younger generation, Emily does not doubt that Cardiff still has a long way to go.